Welcome to a Drop 10 Media Production.
The Porcupine with Adam Nutter.
Yo, what's up? I wasn't picking my nose, I promise. I am Adam Nutter. How's it going? Host of The Porcupine. Guys, go follow me on Instagram at Adam Nutter, on Twitter at Tattooed Comic. I just appealed again for my alt account. We'll see. We'll see what Twitter says. I am staying local to end the year for comedy stuff. I'm going on the road next year, like all over. So, but as far as the end of the year, I'm staying local. So we do have one final show of the year, December 23rd. It's the Christmas Eve show over in John and Peters in New Hope, Pennsylvania. So coming out to that, I think it's like $5 for $10 tickets. It's pretty cheap. But coming out, it's gonna be a fucking blast. It's comedy, then they're gonna do like music afterwards, like a whole thing. So if you guys are local by Philly, coming out, it's a good time. Of course, also go check out the Porcupine, the Cult of Us podcast I do with the great Neil Wood, wearing the shirt. Just comedy, no politics. YouTube.com/Cult of Us. All right. You guys know all that shit, though. Guys, my guest today, you know him. You love him from the fucking In Health and Liberty podcast. Fucking, I always fuck up your podcast.
You're good there. In Liberty and Health.
Liberty and Health. Oh! My boy, Kyle Matovcik.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
And, you know.
This nerd.
This fuck. You know.
I have to write your insults for you. I mean, that's how bad you are at them.
No, I just hate you so much. I just don't want to try it. I just pull you up and like, this fucking loser.
He had like whiskey dick, except for
we're
it was at the
contractually
microphone.
obligated to do like 2 appearances on each other's show a year. So this is just like we're filling them in at the end here before the year runs out.
Yeah, we're gonna be on each other's show 4 times in 2 weeks. You guys know him. You guys love him. Give it up for Jacob Winograd from the Biblical Anarchy podcast. What's up, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me.
Boys, it's been a fun year. We're almost at the end. In fact, a few months, and there'll be another convention time soon for us here in Pennsylvania. What are your thoughts of this year for like Pennsylvania, for the national, for the country, everything? What are you guys' thoughts of overall wrapping up this year? What do you think, Kyle?
Oh, geez. I got to say I was a little disappointed in the LPPA, but you know, there was a lot going on behind the scenes, and you know, it seemed like we lost a lot of activists who had to run campaigns, and you know, just kind of finding your footing with everything. So you know, that kind of sucked. But next year definitely seems a little bit brighter. And on top of that, the National Party, the messaging's been on point. I really can't think of any time where they really drop the ball on anything, which is really, really good to see. So instead of seeing people clown the Libertarian Party, which seemed to be the usual thing, it seems like everyone's retweeting it and celebrating it. So that's it's all good stuff. Their foreign policy outlooks have been very, very greatly improved. I remember the LP National in 2021 tweeting out Taiwan as a country. Like you guys are just carrying water for the worst people on the face of the planet. Because if it wasn't Angela McArdle running the LP National, I'm sure there'd be Ukraine flags in the bio by now.
For sure, yeah. Now instead of people just making fun of us and moving on, like at least now they're making fun of us, but at least we're fighting back. like we're actually like retaliating with like smart tweets and like proof of stuff, not just like gay trans kids matter lives, whatever the fuck they were treating before.
We're not left or right. We're fiscally conservative and socially awkward.
Yeah, they're like, instead of just making fun of us, they do say, oh, well, maybe those autists have a little bit of a point.
Exactly. There's a little more bravado to our autism.
At least like we have an opinion now. Before it was just kind of like, listen, we're just like the Democrats, or hey, we're just like they're. It's like now it's like no, we actually stand for something. Now half of that might be retarded, but hey, we stand for it.
Yeah. What do you think, Jacob? What do you think about this year?
So I mean, it feels like almost 2 years worth of shit happened, because I feel like there was like the first half and then cultivating in Reno, then there was like the second half, which was like the election cycle. I mean, broadly, I think things went pretty well. Kyle and I have had some exchanges over Twitter about here in PA and stuff, and I think the problem was here in PA, we fought really, really hard for 2 years over a pile of dog shit.
Yeah, you're
And
right.
then
By the way, one of you guys
we-
has like a feedback humming thing going on in one of your mics. I'm not sure who it is, but I'm just that's going to be annoying to people for sure. Sorry to cut you off, but
I don't know. It shouldn't be any feedback because I have.
it was
I have a
it's
headset
like a type of thing going on in the back. I hear it. It's fine. So when you guys will figure it out. Go, sorry, go. Continue.
Yeah. So, but
It's Kyle.
No, we were. It was Kyle.
It's Kyle.
It's always Kyle. I was gonna say.
God,
I'm a Jew, so I have the people watching out for me. You know what I mean? Part of the tribe. So yeah, no, we fought really hard for 2 years over this pile of dog shit, and then like we finally had it in our hands, and then it's like, oh wait, we're holding a pile of dog shit.
Right.
Like you know what I mean? Like what we inherited is practically nothing, and yes, some people who were the biggest fish in the smallest fucking pond in the world who did like a lot of work, relatively speaking, left. And then like we had to take it and try to hit the ground running with a party that had no finances and really just terrible infrastructure and make something of it. And we had like no time to do it. We were just kind of like, who's going to be candidates? And it was just like, it might as well have been a draft. It was like, you, and you, you're candidates. Go. Try not to be embarrassing. And they, didn't really succeed at that. They were a little embarrassing. But, it could have been worse. And,
Yeah.
we were
it could have been Fetterman.
Well, yeah. And here's the thing, like, for as bad as some of the PA stuff went, like, we secured ballot access. Like, so at the end of the day, it's like, it's one of those kind of like, to compare it to like the NFL, it reminds me of like when like you're like the old 2000s Ravens team that like would win a game like 6-3.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that was the ugliest game in the world. You don't really leave that game feeling like really good about yourself, but you go, hey, a win's a win. You know what I mean? And I think this year was a win. It wasn't pretty. There's a lot that we can get better on. I'm really excited for next year with Project Decentralized Revolution and like getting actually to implement the MC strategy at the local level with the national party backing us for the first time. That's going to be the real test. So, this year we got a lot done, but there were definitely some missteps, and I hope we adjust where we have to adjust. And I'm looking forward to next year.
Hey, if we didn't obtain the ballot access, right? What does that mean? Does that mean all those Keystone fags could come back in? Is that the whole thing? Is that the whole fucking thing?
I think it's maintaining ballot access means like not having to do as much like petitioning to get on the ballot, so to speak. Like and you still have to do petitioning to get on the ballot, but when you have minor party status, I think I think it depends on it's different for local elections versus statewide elections versus federal elections, all like different rules and stuff. But yeah, I think securing ballot access just like doesn't, if you don't have ballot access, it doesn't mean you can't run anybody. It just means that like you have to work 4 times as hard to get people on the ballot and get their name out and stuff.
This whole election cycle for us, like personally, like for as like libertarians, especially like Pennsylvania, whatever like that, it was like a fucking nightmare, like all around nightmare. I feel like you said, kind of Jacob, like the candidate thing was rough. Like we were rushing to everything that was kind of fucking rough. We got to figure. I mean, by 2024 is the next one, right? Hopefully, we actually ask people who want to run as candidates, and then like build that around that and like make it because like we all saw how many people this election cycle, libertarians were like, oh, vote libertarian no matter what. And a lot of us were like, I don't know if that's the right idea. Just to vote L because L.
There were definitely some interesting states where things were like here in PA, it was like Fetterman and Oz was like, no, like I will vote. I was like, I don't care. I mean, unless the candidate was literally Joe Solosky, that was the only way I was not voting libertarian in this election.
Listen, there's fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Someone help me out. Word looking for. God damn it. Beggars can't be choosy. Beggars can't be choosy type thing. Yeah. Where it's like also I know Eric personally, so I'm gonna vote for Eric. But like outside of Pennsylvania though, like a lot of candidates were running against Republicans who were like so on the level decent, like liberty people.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, if Blake Masters was a PA candidate for Senate, I would be really tempted to vote for him.
Right.
And it's not because I think Blake Masters is perfect or that I don't even think he's really a libertarian. I just think that he's a decent Republican. Like, he's not a terrible neocon. He's not a complete sellout. I think the fact that he didn't have the backing of like Mitch McConnell and stuff like that is kind of a good sign. I think that he understands Austrian economics. I think deep down, I think he understands interventionism and stuff isn't the way, even though maybe he was rhetorically not as good on war as we would like him to be. But I think that was him kind of just like trying to sort of play the field to maintain like the voter support in his party and stuff. You know, he definitely he's a bit of he's a culture warrior. You know what I mean? He's like, we have to fight back against the left and take back the institutions and you know, ban certain things and whatnot. And that's not, you know, I don't agree with him on that. But it's like, if I had Blake Masters versus Fetterman or Blake Masters versus Tom Wolfe, that's not a contest. I'm going with Blake Masters. And it wouldn't be like nothing against Eric. It'd be like, Eric, I love you as a friend, but, you know, I'm going to vote for the Republican in this instance only because, like, the other option is just completely brain dead. No pun intended.
Yeah, and this was something that I saw a lot of libertarians kind of arguing about. You could definitely say that Blake Masters is better than like a Hillary Clinton Democrat, which from what I understand, Mark Kelly was. And, you know, I had plenty of criticisms of Blake Masters, but, you know, in some situations, you just got to vote libertarian because, you know, it's like, hey, these choices are just so absolutely horrid.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's just the statewide elections. You know, it depends on if it's a ballot access race too, right? Like the Blake Masters Mark Kelly race that wasn't for ballot access, so the stakes aren't even like there's nothing to gain unless you were running either a winning campaign, so like you're running a campaign that like you're actually polling at like, I don't know, at least above 30% or something, or like 20 to 30%. And yeah, you know, people in the comments are saying stuff about ballot access. Yeah, I agree. Ballot access is important. So if you're running a ballot access campaign, that's different, right? But the Blake Masters and Mark Kelly thing was not. I don't care what Kara Schultz says a million times over Twitter. She's wrong. It was not about ballot access race at all. So if it's ballot access, that's different. But if it's not, then it's like you need to bring something to the table. You need to be either running a winning or a chance of winning, chance of like making major noise with your vote turnouts, or you need to be like a Dave Smith or a Spike Cohen level messenger that like you're actually growing the movement in a meaningful way. And I don't think that the other guy, Victor, the Libertarian candidate, like nothing against him. I think he's a decent libertarian. I know he had some takes that people didn't like, but in some of the interviews and debates he did, but it's like he wasn't like growing the movement in a way that really made the sacrifice worth anything if he was going to be spoiler in that election. You know, if it was someone like a Ron Paul or a Spike or a Dave or, you know, even like a Justin Amash, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, and I kind of hate Justin Amash.
He kind of sucks.
But at the same time, like, I would vote for him because I think if he was running a campaign under that banner right now, that he would be able to bring people into the party. So, you know, you need to bring something to the table. If it's just running to run, and like, I hate the argument, and I'll stop talking after this. I hate the whole argument that's like, we have to represent the voters and give them a third option. It's like, why? Like that is such a weak sauce argument, and it was one thing to hear that argument from like the non-Mises Caucus people, like the classical liberal caucus in the old regime that were like, you know, you have to run
trans
you have
kids.
To give,
I was going to say classic liberal
rights.
caucus, aka child grooming caucus, but go on.
but to hear that coming from like people within our own caucus, I was like, no, that's not what we're about. We're not just the, you know, end the duopoly party. We're not just the give people a third option party. Like that is just rhetorically uncompelling.
Yeah, but I think like you also made the point about messaging and like the guy Victor from Arizona, right? And I know we all jumped down his throat initially because we thought he was arguing against age of consent laws, and then like we turned out that like, oh, he was just trying to But okay, if you're gonna bring that up, you better be better with your words, guy.
Yeah.
Like that goes to your
Yeah.
point. Is like he's not a good mess. I mean, dude, if you start by going like age of consent, right? What about those laws? Like, if I just say that like that, it sounds like I'm like, we should fuck these kids, you know? But like, that's not what he was saying. But that's what it sounded like he was saying. And we all thought that when we said that. We're all like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, upon him elaborating on that, he really wasn't anything like insanely unreasonable. But you know how Twitter is. You know, when you get a clip like that going, everyone's going to think exactly what you just said. You know, hey, this guy wants to fuck kids. He's actually a lawyer for a lot of interesting cases. Like I think he was actually representing John Schaefer from Iced Earth when he went into the Capitol for January 6th. I was talking to Pat McFarland about this.
Never forget the worst day in American history.
Yeah. No, there was someone on Twitter. I think that Courtney Mill or whatever her name is, some stupid trad blonde woman. She had posted something about I think giving women the right to vote and own land was very, very important. And you know, it was like insta ratio. I was kind of proud of the boys for that one.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think as far as PA goes for next cycle, we gotta just get on the ball better. We gotta start asking people well ahead of time, being like, hey, do you actually give a shit about this position? Like, will you actually campaign? Will you actually dedicate the time and fucking effort into doing it? If not, we're good. Or like run for like a local thing, like even in Newtown. I think there's like a bunch of Newtown township advisor roles coming up in 2024, and then everyone in Bucks is like, you should run. I was like, no, but like a lot of local shit like that matters is coming up next cycle, and like they make like dumb local bullshit laws and code and stuff like that. So if we could just get those in charge, fuck governor and shit. Who cares? Like, do all the local shit. We actually make things matter and like pass local law. Like, fuck the national stuff. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't even think we should be. Also, for this pass, like PA especially, we should have just been like, yo, if we don't have to run anybody, we don't run anybody. We'll just fucking focus on messaging or something like that. Because like I think running bad people is just as bad as, or not as bad as running no one.
But I think we had to run people to maintain ballot access, and we accomplished that. So I think it's like we
had to run people for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that we.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, if you had to get the votes, right?
Yeah,
okay.
It's like I forget, and it's all like as soon as the elections were done, all that like useless information like out of my head.
Yeah.
But it's like you have to get a certain percentage of the highest vote getter in the state, and I think Eric did that for us. It's like, listen, like it wasn't pretty. That's why I compared it to like old Tampa Bay Buccaneers or old Ravens teams when they would win games.
It's just nobody's ugly after 2 a.m., man. Just call it like it is. You're hammered. You had too many drinks, and the next thing you know, you're taking home a 5.
I was 12 shots in, and I was looking at that 13
there
shot.
it is.
Not 13 though, because that's right.
Yeah, right. What 12 and a half? I stopped right at the edge.
That's fair. So we talk about the caucus stuff. Classical Liberal Caucus again, as this past week has been in our newsfeed lately, talking about all the fucking trans youth bullshit and all that stuff.
And they've like quintupled down on it over and over. And like I'm the nice guy, like I want to get along with everybody, and I kept on like they would make a tweet. I'd be like, oof, that's not it, man. And I would just try throwing them a bone. I would try reframing it to be like, listen, okay. Maybe what you should say is like you don't want, because I get the idea that like if you don't want the government to ban certain procedures because you're afraid of like, okay, well, if I ban this treatment that's used on trans kids, then a doctor who wants to use that medication on something else where it's actually like necessary will be barred from doing it, or the unintended consequences of any law, which is something libertarians talk about. It's like focus on that kind of argument that has some merit, but to just like quintuple down on like trans kids. It's like, at some point I just threw my hands up and I was like, whatever, this is the hill you're going to die on, I guess. Like, fuck.
Dude, I'm very over like trying to be like, maybe they meant this. Fuck that. No, they know what they're saying. Like, they know what they're saying.
I know some of the members in there, and like they do a better job than like the caucus account does in terms of like trying to, I don't know, not be as cringe with what they're saying.
Right, but as you know, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
That they're the public face of the group. Just like the Mises Caucus account is the public face of it. It doesn't matter. And people are just going to react to what that account's saying. So you could be like, there's a few doesn't matter. I'm now in my brain.
There's
I'm like,
good people on both sides.
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the whole trans kids right, or whatever the hell it was, trans kids rights or human rights. I think that was the tweet. With all the stuff that's going on now about how we're seeing all these drag shows and shit like that, I mean, that is going to be wildly unpopular, even with probably a lot of Democrats, I'd even be willing to say. I don't think that's like this huge groundswell thing that's going on. It's definitely happening, but that needs to be stopped wherever the fuck it's happening, because clearly that shit's inappropriate. But I just to like want to die on that hill, like you guys were saying, it's an incredibly stupid strategic error that at this point, like, how do you defend that? And I'm sure if you look on the quote tweets, there's not going to be anybody defending that, because it's retarded.
Oh, it's the same group of people it's the Waldenbergers of the group that fucking keep, which by the way, he's still getting negative Google reviews on his business because of me, and that's pretty funny.
I just don't understand what compels these people. Like, why trans kids is something that like they find especially motivating as a cause to get behind. It's like
because Jacob, they're not really libertarian. I know it's a tired saying too. You're not real libertarian, but they're not. I mean, they're dying on the progressive hill. That's what they're doing, and that's what they are.
You're not a libertarian. You're just a progressive who maybe likes guns or something. I don't know.
Right.
But like,
it's always like one or two things that make them not a full progressive, but they are anyway. It's like it's because you like guns that make you not a progressive.
Well, it's like they're like we're not for communism or socialism. We want like lower taxes. It's like being for lower taxes isn't even what like. I don't get up in the morning and do all the shit I do for the movement and the party because it's like, you know what I absolutely want is lower taxes. Like, I'm not saying I wouldn't want lower taxes, but that is not the like number one goal. It's not the driving core of libertarianism. Like, the driving core of libertarianism is like self-ownership and non-aggression and property rights and anti-war.
I think some of these
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Some of the libertarians, as we'll call them, in that kind of group are using libertarianism as a means to justify their degeneracy. It's not any way that they really see it increase freedom. They see this as, the way that society is structured, where there's necessary burdens placed upon individuals. They see that as oppressive, right? That's kind of the whole progressive paradigm, where they see as institutions and, moral responsibility as oppressive. So they see libertarianism as a way to release themselves of that responsibility.
But you know what's really stupidly ironic? Like, remember the whole argument these people made about masks and vaccines, which they were like, well, no, guys, it's obvious. It goes without saying we don't want the government to mandate this stuff. But what we have to do is we have to be really pro this stuff and just go out and do it to show that you don't need government to force it. Like, and that was a dumb hill to die on because, like, we were all proven, right? Like, masks were useless, the jab was useless, etc. But it's like, so the underlying principle, though, of like, there are some things that you need to take personal responsibility to do to sort of demonstrate that, like, we are capable of self-governing. We don't need the government to take care of us. Isn't wrong. They just applied it to, like, the dumbest issues that were just not based in fact. But when it comes to, like, something like children's rights, okay? Like, yeah, that is something that's a little bit tricky to figure out, which is why libertarians should be, like, dying on the hill of, like, standing up for children in terms of like saying like, like children are highly impressionable, they're innocent, they're not fully developed yet, and we should be like, we shouldn't be trying to find how close to the line we can get in terms of like what is grooming and what is violating the consent of children and mutilating them and abusing them. Like, we should be as far away from that as fucking possible. Like, we should be like trying to be the party, like the culture of our movement and party should be like, wow, these people, like, we don't need child labor laws and we don't need laws about protecting kids if libertarians are in charge, because they have a culture that just takes care of that. Like, that is, so like their argument about the COVID regime is right, except it's applied to the wrong topic. And when the right topic,
it's applied in favor of the regime.
Right, it's applied in favor of the regime and not in favor of, like, I don't know, like maybe kids should have a little bit more brain development and be like I don't know, adult before they're taking estrogen and before they're having their breasts removed. And yeah, I mean, and the fact and these cowards won't even talk to someone like Torin. I mean,
Right.
I've been crucifying the classical liberal caucus and the fakertarians and all them because it's like you guys don't have the guts to talk to Torin or anyone like Torin. Like you don't have the guts to do that, to talk to someone who's been through it, basically lived everything that you espouse and then said, you know what, this is bullshit, and
This is
turned
wrong,
away
right?
from it.
This is bad. Well, dude, you're nailing it on the fucking head. They don't care about the truth. They just want to hear. They just want to push their agenda, right? And again, you have someone like Torin who's like, "Hey, actually," and then when he does talk to these people on Twitter and they respond, they just go, "Wait." Like they'll dismiss him with whatever excuse.
You know what they say to him? They say, "Well, Torin, you're a minority. You're a statistical anomaly, and you shouldn't make decisions about the whole based upon the minority." And I'm like, that's exactly what you're fucking doing with this gender shit.
Yes.
You're going, look at this, like 0.5% of people who are gender non-binary and who are trans, and so we need to completely redefine sex and gender based upon catering to this one minority.
Right.
They're such hypocrites.
No, but then they literally talk to Torin like a Democrat would talk to a black conservative.
Right.
Yes, because he's not one of theirs.
Right.
They're like, like, be trans, but if you ever go outside of this thinking box, you're a Nazi. There's no, you're the first trans Nazi ever.
And they only care about these minority groups insofar as they can be tokenized and used to further their agenda. And one thing I'm proud of is that we never did that with Torin when he was trans and he was going as Audrey. Like, I mean, it would come up in conversation sometimes, but we didn't go around going, "Hey, look at this! Look at the trans guy we have.
You got one."
Yeah.
Hey, look at ours.
Yeah. Like
ours could beat up yours.
And I talked to him about this last week on my podcast. I was just like, it was like we just treated him like one of us. We didn't care about his transness.
Of course.
And like that's like these people are such morons. Like they go on and on about bigotry and racism and sexism and transphobia. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, exactly what you just put up. How dare we treat people like individuals and not as that is the opposite of bigotry. Is just not caring about their skin color, not caring about their sexuality. It's just being like, okay, you're a person. I'm going to talk to you like a person. I'm going to treat you like a person and not like, oh, you're trans, and now I have to walk on eggshells around you. You're this super fragile little snowflake that I can't possibly, be myself around because I'll offend you, I'll hurt your feelings.
Right. It's like also it's this whole thing of like we just want we're normal. We just want to be part of society. It's like, okay, and I'm sure some trans people are. That's fine, and they don't give a fuck. But all those people who are so eggshelly, like you just said, do you think I'm gonna want to hang out with you? Right, like any of us are gonna want to hang out with you?
Nothing to do with it.
Like,
you're
what are
trans.
you thinking?
It's just that you're a bitch.
You're a bitch. All right. Like all I do is make fun of my friends, and I say the worst things about them. That's what you do. Especially in comedy, like you just pick a lot of roasting. It's you look at somebody and go, what do I think is going to upset you the most? It's not even what I feel, right? That's what roasting is. It's you look at somebody and go, what can I say that I know is going to trigger you? It's nothing about what you personally believe. It's all about. So if I look at Jacob and go, you're gay, you're weak, you're frail, you're all these easy things you can make fun of. You have glasses, you're a nerd. All these things I know are going to bother him. Right. But they don't understand that. They're like, oh, you can hang out with you, but you can't make fun of this and this and this. Is like, then we're not ever going to ever be in the same room together. Like, this is not how this goes.
And I swear these people, like, I've talked about this before, we've talked about it with trans people, but then they go on about like, and listen, there are definitely times where like New Hampshire and Jeremy Kauffman like say shit on Twitter. I'm just like, guys, like that's just dumb. Like, it's not even that I'm offended. It's just dumb. Like, the whole, like, I believe in reparations. You can either go back to Africa or shut up. I was like, guys, that's just...
Yeah, but they're just dumb. They're trolling.
Yeah, I know, but
they're not. They don't really mean that.
I know they don't mean it, and I'm not offended by it. But I'm just like, it's not even.
It's like lowbrow trolling.
It's not even a good troll, though.
It's definitely lowbrow trolling, but it's still a troll. I think sometimes those guys will just throw out something to be like, "This is what you guys sound like." As in, like,
maybe it's possible.
How the left tweets out like, like all humans are equal and like so brave, whatever the fuck. Right. That's their point. Is like
slavery's bad.
Right. It's the
Yeah.
most basic level, low IQ, low brow shit in the world. And then they're like all the ethos we have in the libertarian world. They'll just be like, taxation's theft, and they'll show their fucking tits. And you're like, you're not saying anything.
Yeah, the literal libertarian Skeletor, as you called it. I like that name a lot.
Thanks.
Yeah, she literally just says like the most basic boomer shit.
She's not even hot.
Yeah, and then her name's the redheaded libertarian, but literally like she's.
Why am I so popular, guys? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are so many people following me?
And by the way, I would be more okay with that if they can't if they had some like super smart shit that I've never heard of before, like some new philosophical talking point. I was like, yo, that's a great point, and tits.
No,
but I mean, never that.
Yeah, if you got tits and you're a libertarian and you just say basic libertarian platitudes, you get an enormous following, and then they somehow think that they have some kind of forbidden knowledge that nobody else has. No, you got a set of tits and people like looking at them, so when they see it on their timeline, they get a little stiffy and they hit follow. That's all there is to it.
Right, yeah. Well, a lot of autistic simps at the Libertarian Party.
yeah, to be fair.
Well, the point I was trying to get at, though, was like they go on about how like they'll look at things like that even I think are like stupid, but they'll be like, oh, all these people are racist. And I'm like, you guys don't even like black people. Like I've hung out with, I've actually hung out with black people in person. And let me tell you, you guys wouldn't be able to like stand it for 5 minutes because within 5 minutes you'd be like, oh, they're using the N-word.
Yeah, no, dude, I think Nick Ashley did this. This is like going back a while now, but when he went on the Fakeitarians podcast and he went, "What's your favorite rap album?" And they were like,
right, yeah.
Lie, say anything. Yeah. They couldn't even, because they're not, again, it's all fake. Again, I grew up playing football, fucking all black dudes. I'm comedy, plenty of black friends. I hang out with black people all the time. You're right. Their whole world, they're like, you're racist. But then you look at their friend group, it's like white, paisley white, fat white, autistic white. It's all white. It's just versions of white.
Yep.
Like they're the worst. Party. They're the absolute worst people on the fucking party, planet, America. They just fucking suck, dude. I fucking hate them. But who gives a fuck? I mean, they're really irrelevant now. Half of them in PA are in the fucking Keystone Party. We have like 2 people left that aren't Mises caucus. I feel like in the LPPA.
Yeah, one of them is still my like literally 4 houses down from me. Is where she lives, and it's so funny because like I'll run into her at like community events and stuff, and she just won't even look at me, won't even acknowledge I'm there, and she'll pass by me and be like, "Hi, how are you doing?" Doesn't even say anything, or like if she says something, says it like the rudest way possible. I'm just like, these people had nothing else. This is all they had, and like part of me feels bad. Like this is literally all they had. Like, I mean, to the point where like they would like neglect their children to just like do nothing but libertarian shit, and now they don't have that, and it's like, dude, we're these big bullies that like took their favorite toy from them.
You're so right. I mean, you know that because all these board meetings that you go to, the meeting ends and all of them are hanging out 4 hours past the fucking meeting time.
You know how, and I'm not using their name, so
Lord.
if they,
I'm not either. Yeah,
but like the one person I'm talking about, like their child, when we were at these meetings and stuff, and like even like on the board meetings and stuff afterwards, where they'd be hanging out for like hours afterward, their child would come in on the screen and be like, "Mommy, please spend time with me, Mommy." Yes. And then she'd be like, "Shut up, go." And I'm just like, go spend time with your fucking kid. Jesus Christ. Like,
yeah, like imagine.
And then in my case, because they're like, you didn't attend enough events to be qualified to be chair of your county. I was like, no, I didn't go to every event because I have kids. And they actually like
like me and like spending time with me.
Like,
yeah. I don't know. Just imagine literally abandoning your children for a political party. I mean, that to me is just absolutely insane. And it really shows a lack of like integrity and character of the people who were supposedly leading the party. And I don't think you can have any kind of good movement if those are literally your leaders, people who like don't even take care of their fucking kids. I mean, that says a lot about a person's character. But the people who are in charge now seem to understand that, like, hey, you actually have to be more than just like a progressive NPC to lead a libertarian movement.
No.
Well, and that's how right. Cringy how the classical liberal caucus messages. It's like literally NPC platitude after NPC platitude. It's
right.
Like, is this even a person? Is this just an AI?
Well, dude, it really is a weird thing how we're talking about like them versus us, and like it spills down to like physical characteristics too. Because like when I do all the comedy stuff for like libertarian stuff, I bring Blaze Gagekis to open for me a lot, and he's not libertarian, but every single time he's like, I know exactly who's like Mises and who's not, or who hates you guys. He's like, I just look at them and I go, that guy's not with you. Like that chick is with you. That guy's not with you. Like that chick's not with you. Like that guy is with you, because they all look the same. Ugly, fat, gross.
Waldberger.
Yeah, they all look like him. And all people who hate their fucking selves, hate their fucking families, ignore their fucking kids. Again, it's a Saturday night. We're having a board meeting. I'm like, do you guys not have anything better to do on a 9 o'clock at night on a Saturday? Like hang out, go out with friends. For me, it's different. I'm working, but like everybody else who has like normal lifestyle, like you guys don't want to do any of that stuff. You just want to fucking do libertarian talk, and then not even that, just hang out afterwards, and then just talk on a Zoom meeting. Yeah. That's your fucking life.
That's all they have.
And that's why they were so fight. That's why they fought back so hard against us. Not because we're fucking Nazis, or not because we're gonna fucking ruin the party. Because we're ruining their fucking social club. Yep. And every state went through it during the fucking Reno reset thing. Every single state went through it. They went like, well, we're losing our social club. We're losing our hangout spot. And they didn't have to. They just didn't have to be cunts. And they couldn't do both.
Yeah, right.
Lancaster County, which doesn't have a lot of MC guys in it, they meet every week. I'm not even kidding you. They meet every week. Only one of those is a business meeting. And I'm just like, and when I was trying to like reschedule when our York meetings were, before all the Keystone people left, they'd be like, oh, we can't do it on Wednesdays because that's when the Lancaster meeting is. I was like, okay, what about this Wednesday? No, that's when the Lancaster meeting is. I was like, well, wait, Lancaster meets every Wednesday? Like, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? Like, wait, how could you? This is hard enough for me to make it to like one meeting a month. Yeah. Like, what are these people doing with their lives that they need a meeting every single month, plus the monthly board meeting, plus convention, plus like they're probably like, let's be members of every single freaking committee in the world. I mean, it's.
What's did anyone see a vote total for the Keystone Party? I'm actually sincerely curious about this.
It was super low.
Are we talking 4 digits? Please tell me it's 4 digits.
I think it's less than that.
Are you serious?
I'm almost positive it was like in the 3s, right?
Holy shit!
Jacob, you know?
Yeah, it was.
I think it was
low.
I think it was like 300 and something.
That is.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But
I thought it was higher than 300, but I don't think it hit. I think it was either low 4 digits or high 3 digits.
Okay, that's fucking. I wonder if that's look upable. Right? Like, could you look that up? Keystone.
The problem.
I'm trying to do that now.
The breakdowns I saw were like by position and not like cumulative. So I'm going like mental math here.
All right, I'm saying. Oh, they're on Wikipedia. Oh, we should edit that Wikipedia. We should actually fuck it. While we're here, this is fun. Let's do this. I'm not gonna edit it because I don't really know how to do that shit. But let's read through their fucking thing. Okay, Keystone Party. The party was founded by members of the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania who felt the Libertarian Party was veering too hard to the right.
No,
that's the first line.
Good Lord.
Oh,
how dare you?
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, they don't even have their fucking numbers. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Oh, there's no way. They got 20,000 votes, Slosky and Nicole Schultz for governor.
Huh.
I find that hard to believe. They got
ballot harvesting.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They are dead last in every single one of these. Like by miles. So governor, they got 20,000. The next closest was 23,000, which is Green Party. What is this one? Oh, this is Senate. 25,000. Next closest is 29,000 with the Green Party. Pennsylvania House, who you were just talking about, Jacob,
was 3 digits.
Didn't even break 1,000. Got absolutely rocked. And then same thing for House, absolutely rocked. Not even fucking close. So yeah, they're getting absolutely fucking smashed.
And you got to think about it. They only had that many candidates, so all of their efforts went to just those candidates. Mm-hmm. Imagine if they tried to run as many candidates as we did with that volunteer base and the little funding they have. It is, I imagine half of them are going to drop off and go to either the Democrat Party or the Forward Party at some point. I can't imagine they're going to.
Can I edit this?
Can
I
be like losers.
Can I just call this gay? Do I just call this gay?
The Keystone Party is fake and gay. Our platform,
hold on.
we are fake and gay.
Was veering too hard in the right direction.
Oh, that's a good one.
Was veering too hard.
Oh my god. This is beautiful.
Publish changes. Let's go.
I'm gonna see if it updated. Let's
Oh,
see.
it did?
Veering too hard in the right direction. Oh my god. Oh my god, that is fantastic.
Shit, dude. That's so funny. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing that. That was fun though. That was fun. Hey, that's anybody can do that. I'm saying Wikipedia is a publicly edible website. You guys should all go do that. I wonder how long it takes him to realize that.
I don't know. We'll have to keep.
I hope they leave it up. I hope they leave it up.
I'm gonna check back every day.
So what do you guys think? To cover a different topic, what do you guys think of Bernie Sanders bitching out and withdrawing the?
The Yemen vote. That was also on the docket. I think I want to talk about. Yeah, so he just pretty much said because of Biden's opposition to it or something like that. He's like, we're not going to hold the vote.
I think from the White House, it's like,
I think the deal was that they realize how unpopular Democrats are currently, and even though they did better than what everybody would have thought for the midterms, I think they're just trying to look tough because I know they were. Saudi Arabia had a call with actually Xi Jinping from China, and I'm guessing they're probably just trying to posture and look tough, so they want to make sure that, hey, we're under the right side with Saudi Arabia, so we're going to continue to give them arms sales. We're going to continue to, although there may be a ceasefire, we're just going to try and give them a little bit of what they want, so that way we look good to them, and we look like tough guys. So that way, I'm sure that was probably some of the thinking behind it. But yeah, it's Bernie Sanders is bitch shit.
Yeah, no, of course he is. I mean, hey, we've given $200 billion to Ukraine, but fuck Yemen.
The poorest country in the Middle East, but though a country on the border of Russia that's 1/16 the size of the United States, we have to pour all the money in the freaking world over there. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, Benzo Barbie just said it's not showing up on the. No, it's there.
Yeah, I looked at it. It was there when I looked it up.
Yeah, it's oh no, I fucking just refreshed it, and it's back to the original way.
Oh no shit! It was like that when I was on there.
Do you think they have like a fucking notification thing set up their Wikipedia page? Like someone touched it, and then they have no life. They're like click, like right back on the thing. No, all right. Well, Barbie, I'll figure it out later. All right, when I finish this, I'm gonna get back on and I'll do some research. But it's again, no one cares about Yemen. That's not on the agenda. Ukraine's the agenda. That's the propaganda we're going for. Obviously, every president since Bush or since Obama has fucking shoved Yemen down further. No one cares about fucking Yemen. So yeah, of course that was gonna happen. Like we really thought they were gonna be like, you know what, guys, you're right. Let's stop
killing brown people in the Middle East is wrong. You guys, you libertarians know something.
You got it. You guys, yeah, that was never gonna happen. But you guys think anything was gonna happen from that? No, right?
No, but it is indicative of like, I mean, for one, as a former Bernie bro, like it reminds me of just how much of a weakling Sanders is. And I remember like after he didn't win the nomination in 2015, and just like immediately like went and endorsed Hillary, which like, I was I was a libertarian, didn't know it yet because like I hated, and all of us, like we hated Hillary Clinton, and we literally spent like the entire campaign supporting Bernie, just like trashing her. All of a sudden, just to go from trashing her to like, oh no, we're gonna endorse her because fuck Trump. I was just like, what?
Plus that sweet cash.
Yeah. Well, then you start to realize like, wait, he's saying tax the rich, but like he's part of the rich. Like, and so anyway, I mean, that kind of, after that election is when I started to look into more, kind of left the left and looked more into different political philosophies. But yeah, no, it's, people, I think it's, I don't know, I'm cautiously optimistic that maybe it'll get back to a vote and something happens. Because, like, it's not that I'm thinking it's going to be, like, a major... I mean, Scott Horton talked about this on Dave's show, and it's like, it's not that it's going to be, like, some major blow against the regime so much. As much as it is, like, a white pill in terms of, like, just waking up more Americans to, like, the shit that's going on. And, like, the fact that this is happening and that it's generating news headlines because of all of the work of all these different anti-war groups coalition together, like, that is something to be proud of. But, obviously the best outcome would be that they pass the resolution. Although if they don't pass it, it still kind of generates some buzz, because it's like, hey, look at all this outcry that people have towards this situation, and look at Congress still not doing anything about it. So I think either way, we can spin it in a good direction.
I think all the money going towards Ukraine and stuff like that is really kind of opening people's eyes up to kind of how the military-industrial complex really works. And I think a lot of people don't really have the same appetite for, blood all over the world that they once did, because now when you're paying for it at the pump and you're seeing $100 billion go to Ukraine to, supply them with weapons and different governmental functions, when people hear about other war things, they feel not maybe equally as pissed off, but they're like, hey, well, maybe we cut a little fat around here too, to, maybe bring everything back into balance.
What also I noticed was some a few normal people out there who aren't in politics like we are, as soon as the elections ended and gas went back up, they're like, what happened? I was like, oh my God, right? It's almost like that was on purpose or something. Like, talk about waking people up, Kyle. What do you guys think about all these Twitter files that Elon's been dropping? I mean, everything we've said for the last 3 years, but like now it's like kind of out there for fact.
It's like a nail in the coffin. I think everybody, or at least all of us, kind of knew what the situation was. It really wasn't too surprising. I do got to say, it is very irritating to see Barry Weiss tweeting out all this stuff, because it's very difficult to read a huge Twitter thread. And the one thing I did find kind of funny is that, of course, she picked out where an Iranian official was saying something about Israel and called Israel a tumorous cancer, something like that. And for anybody that doesn't know, Barry Weiss is actually an Israel lobbyist.
Kanye wrote the Twitter files. I don't know if you guys know that. Kanye wrote that.
Only if they'd be a hell of a lot more based then. But yeah, I just kind of wish they would dump it all out at once rather than, like this. It almost seems like a limited hangout, and Robbie Martin's been saying that a lot, but I think I kind of agree with him, where you're just getting a little bit of the narrative at a time, and maybe there's certain things being omitted for a specific purpose, and maybe it just is the way it is. Maybe Elon likes stirring shit and keeping people coming back, or maybe it's just there is something more to it. So
I could almost see it as it's like a tactical thing, where if you drop everything at once, people forget about it. It's a big deal for a week. Yeah. But if you are constantly dropping something each week that's really important, big or important, that people like care about, you're keeping people strung along way more than you would if you're just like, here. And then you're like, remember that thing in June? And you're like, nah, again, me either.
Well, the other thing I saw that they were talking about is the banning of Donald Trump, and it kind of let you see, pulled the wool off of their eyes, or pulled the wool off of everybody's eyes, to see into how these people really think. They literally thought he was inciting a riot, where he constantly said, we're going to go to the Capitol and we're just going to go there and make our voices heard. And then I think Trump said, like, fight. And then nobody really thought that there was going to be this huge militia going into the Capitol. I mean, to think that a bunch of, fucking rednecks from all over the country are going to go take over the Capitol, it's ridiculous. Or that Mike Pence is going to be strung up, like, nobody wants that. Nobody really wants that. Like, there were people that said, nobody really wants to fuck around.
There's like 5 people who do, and it's like everyone else is just like hyperbole or whatever the fuck.
Right.
I think to string it along is smarter than just dropping all at once. But
do you think he's at risk, like Elon? Like, you think he's like
getting whacked?
Yeah, like getting Epsteined. I mean, it's
no.
like,
I think he's too past that point. I think it's past that point.
I hope so.
Because it's everyone, because everyone would be like, well, someone killed him. like no one would be like, no one would be like, he just
past
died.
that point with
It would be bigger than
everyone knew
Epstein.
somebody killed him
Right.
with Epstein. So it's like, I mean, I don't know. Like to some point, I wonder if we're going to hit that point where the regime goes like, whatever, the mask's off. Everyone knows we do this. We get away with it. You know what I mean? Like
They kind of do that now with things,
yeah,
but
you're
not that big yet.
but not that big.
But they kind of do with smaller things. Just blatantly, like you have judges be like, I don't agree with that law. So you'd be like, you can't do that.
Maybe they'll try to delegitimize Twitter over the next couple years first.
They're
and
doing
then
that now.
maybe, Yeah, well, I know, but say like after they've done that for long enough, then maybe he'd be more at risk. But I don't know.
I don't know, dude, because again, Twitter ain't going anywhere. We've already seen if you make a social platform, it immediately becomes an echo chamber to whoever created that platform. That's what happens. Twitter, for whatever, because it's probably the first one, is the only agreed upon neutral town square. That's what it is. Like Gab, Parler, Truth Social, the other one, the fucking Libs came out with.
Why do you think he hasn't done the amnesty?
There was
yet?
Mastodon and Getter. I don't know the one that Libs came out with.
It was like Tribal or Tribe or something like that. Like but like that's even more fucking on the nose. it's like all this stuff is tribal and it all goes to an echo chamber. So it's always gonna be Twitter. So you could fucking like all these fucking losers could leave Twitter. Does it matter? Twitter's been growing. It's been making more money than ever before. So you have like all these fucking I'm gonna leave Twitter. Okay, all you're doing is ruining your fucking platform. You idiot.
Yeah.
Like you idiot, you absolute idiot. But good, go ahead. It's all these fucking lefties anyway.
Weak. Like to go back to the weak, like we have been like libertarians. I don't even throw conservatives in there because they've been in the minority and been persecuted. They've been on Twitter and been the persecuted minority for years. They've weathered that storm for years. For like the first time since Twitter's existence, people on the left are now the ones who are like. They're not even like being persecuted.
But they're not even being attacked, dude.
They're just no longer in their safe space anymore.
They're no longer
the
dominant majority.
Right. They no longer
like,
could silence us
leaving.
with the push of a button. That's what it comes down to. And we're like, exist with us. We're just gonna trash you way more openly now. And they're like, we can't have that. We'll shit on you for fucking 7 years. But as soon as it's even, we're out. It's like, okay, you're missing out. We're not. we stuck through it. I'm fucking banned.
What sucks is that it's hard for me to remember that I used to be like that. Like I used to be that kind of like virtue signaling.
Yeah, that's why I still hate you.
Yeah, I know. I get up in the morning early every day to just look in the mirror and be like, "You piece of shit, I hate you."
It's a hell of a way to motivate yourself.
Yeah, no, but
I do that too for different reasons. Though
I remember being at work and people. I remember being at work once and people made like a race joke around me. Not even like a bad one. It was like really mild. And I just remember just like I went out of my way to go up to them and be like, that's offensive. Like, why would you say that? That joke is really offensive. And I don't, this is, and I remember like making all those tropes and saying all that crap. And like these people, and I remember the feeling that it gave me. Like it gives you this weird sense of like moral superiority. It's the same thing that like vegans get, which I also used to be. I used to be a piece of shit.
Dude, you are the
have
worst.
every right.
Wow.
That's why we're fucking friends with you.
You know what? I didn't agree with Adam and what he was saying about you, but now that you said you used to be a vegan, I think I'm coming over to Adam's side a little bit more.
Thank you. I know, Kyle, don't fucking doubt me. I know. I know Jacob. I know who he is.
You're right, man. You're right.
I used to be a Bernie Sanders vegan leftist. It was dark times. But you know what? The Mises Caucus, people like Dave Smith, converted me. So all this bullshit. I put this out. People are like the Mises Caucus only right-wing reactionaries. It's like, no. Like there's plenty of us who came from the left. We're just not part of like we're not the Hillary Clinton like style Democrats. Like we're more like we came from like the Occupy Wall Street or like Bernie Sanders part of the
populist kind of left.
Yeah, like we're the people who are more woke on like the stuff that actually matters, like war and the regime and corruption and stuff like that. And we just had a bad sense of economics. And a lot of us, like, we used to be woke for a little bit, but eventually that stuff got so crazy that, like, I mean, at some point when it was like my people within my own family were calling like my dad anti-Semitic, even though my dad is literally fucking Jewish. I was just like, hold up. Something doesn't make sense here. Like my dad's parents, like literally, my dad's grandparents literally fled Nazi Germany, and it's like, you're anti-Semitic. It's like because my dad, not for my dad, just for voting for Donald Trump. I was like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, I don't. I didn't like Trump. I mean, I've never liked Trump. Now I dislike him for like actual reasons, not
Well,
like.
that's the thing is we all have legitimate gripes.
Yeah, but you don't like Trump because it's like you kept the wars going and you almost got us to war with Iran.
Right.
And
Exactly. That's my point.
You said you were going to audit the Fed and you didn't.
And the inflation that he technically started, the lockdowns, fuck him. Go.
Yeah,
it's like
he put
we have
Fauci
legitimate
in power. It's
right.
Like, but everyone else is like,
Russiagate, January
6th,
6th, he was mean. I don't give a fuck about any of those.
Yeah, like
No.
if he was actually if he was actually as based as the leftists make him sound, I would support him. But he's not.
Dude,
he's not.
January 6th didn't go far enough. Like I wish Trump was calling for people to storm the White House.
Dude, I remember.
Wish he was. Listen, go in there and hang up Pence by his entrails, burn the fucking Constitution down. It's just like people are like saying, what did Trump say the other week? Where he's like, ignore the Constitution, and then Amash went out and did his like virtue signaling, pearl clutching about like, you can't vote for a president who says that he doesn't respect the Constitution. I was like, actually, that kind of like makes me want to, just to spite you.
Dude, the 2 days after January 6th, well, I have it on a Monday, right? That was a Monday, I think. I think it was Monday. So. Wednesday, I went to our podcast studio, and there was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 other comics in there recording their own, and everyone's just kind of talking. And someone's like, "Fucking Monday was crazy, right?" And they're like, "It's a coup." I go, "There wasn't even any weapons," and everyone looked at me, and like I was about to go into the whole like, really, and they were like, "This is an absolute coup." They were trying to throw a coup, and I was like, "You know what? I don't care. I'm not getting into this."
Like 1776, a coup meant like people literally dying in the streets, fighting the redcoats and stuff. Like, and it's like a coup in 2020. It's like people taking selfies.
Right. JC made a great point. The left and MAGA right both buy into a narrative of Trump that doesn't exist. That's perfectly said. Yeah. That's exactly true, because you have all the MAGA people like 2024, he's coming back. I go, we're good. We're all good. We don't need that. Like, you guys don't get it. Like, you guys don't get why he sucked.
I mean, like, I kind of hope he gets the Republican nomination, only because, like, I mean, I don't like DeSantis either, but I think that we could just do a lot more. And like if especially if it's like a Dave Maj ticket, I feel like running up against Trump is there's a lot more like low-hanging fruit to go after than there is with DeSantis. Like, we can still do it with DeSantis, but Trump's just like a way punching bag.
The thing with DeSantis,
you know what?
Though,
good.
No, I was just gonna say real quick. The thing with DeSantis is like, I don't want to run for president because he's terrible on foreign policy and stuff, and we need guys like him home doing what he's doing, being like, "Fuck you, fuck the government, fuck this COVID
That's
shit."
the best part about localism, and it's like, like so many people who get like, I get it. Like, I'm not a Zionist. I don't like Israel. I get all that, but the people who get there's some people, whether it's like Ron DeSantis or whether it's Jordan Peterson, whether it's whatever, people get like super butthurt if someone's a Zionist. I'm like, listen, number one, Zionism is like the norm, okay? Like, you go up and talk to an average normie and you talk about like, you try to talk to them about how like we oppose Israel and we oppose like their military actions and all that. Like, you might find the occasional person on the left who might agree with you, but that's pretty fucking rare. Most people are pro-Israel, and it's because most people haven't taken time to really look at that subject, to look at what's going on with the Palestinians and stuff. They just kind of hear the headlines and the propaganda and all that. But two, it's like, it's not that I'm not saying foreign policy is not important, but foreign policy matters for people who are actually in a position to do something with that, or who are making that foreign policy position their number one talking point. Like someone like a John McCain or a Bill Kristol or whatnot. Like, even though they weren't like ever actually president or generals or whatnot, they made like the war on terror their main issue. So fuck them. But someone like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson or Ron DeSantis, who like, yeah, if you catch them in interviews saying making pro-Zionist talking points or whatnot. But okay, but like Jordan Peterson's just like someone who's helped a lot of people, including me, like turn their lives around and like reject identity politics, reject a lot of like the modern day tropes that the left and public education's put on people. And you have someone like Ron DeSantis, who like even though his foreign policy is awful, like he was culturally like a leading figure against the COVID regime. And like we can complain about him, but everyone in Florida loves him. And this recent election is just proof of that.
Yeah.
Because he won dominatingly after the previous one where he barely skated through.
Yeah.
So it's like
Barely skated through against a black gay crackhead.
right, exactly. So it's like we just I don't know, like we need to be more sophisticated. And I think to some extent, there's a little bit of like residual Lawbertness in the party that I think has creeped into some of our people, just because that's like
someone has to take the mantle.
Well, yeah, it's sort of like the incentive structures are there to be a little bit like I like the way Heist puts it. It's like the party justice warrior. Like some people do that, and then some people do that over like whether it's like Zionism or they do it over I don't know, something is like their most important issue, and then like if anyone in the public sphere is bad on that issue, they demonize that person. And it's like, you know what? I think there are people who aren't libertarians who are good people and who I still view them as like counter to the regime. They're just not libertarians. And like they could be, but they just like, it'd be cool to see Jordan Peterson have a sit down talk with like I don't know, like Scott Horton or someone like that. I mean, he has talked to Bob Murphy, but that was more about like economics and stuff. He hasn't had a libertarian on to talk foreign policy. He probably would. My point just being that like we need to be careful to like not make perfect the enemy of the good, and like localism solves so many of the problems. And this is like I started talking about this on the point you made, Adam, which is like DeSantis as president, the fucking worst. DeSantis as governor, actually pretty based. I mean, not perfect, but pretty frickin' based. I will say this. Also, when he shipped the immigrants up
So
to
funny.
fucking, oh my god,
Funniest
I was
thing
like,
ever.
that is like the best political move I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it's just because like it's like, and I know he didn't do it for like the right reasons, because like I'm actually more of an open borders libertarian, and I know like he was kind of like trying to stick it to them, but like you should stick it to them. Because like the Democrats pretend to be good on this issue, but they actually fucking suck.
Well, it's
Like,
NIMBY,
good for
right?
him for-
It's like that
good for
George
him for
Carlin
exposing
bit
it.
from years ago where it's like, oh, build a prison? Not in my backyard. It's like that whole
That's
thing,
exactly
right?
what it was. Yeah,
It's-
and they made a big deal. They couldn't afford to have all these people here.
Martha's Vineyard couldn't afford. Imagine that shit. I've been to Martha's
This is a
Vineyard.
straight
Yeah,
up
they
ruse.
can. Yeah, they fucking can. Yeah, my favorite was that video clip of that woman being like, where are we going to keep 50 people?
In all your yachts or mansions, there's just no room.
Like, we can't put them. That's where we keep our servants. They already have a quarters. Like, where are we going to put them?
AOC
We already
wears
have
that
enough
dre-
Mexicans here.
AOC wears that dress like tax the rich, and it's just like, but fuck the 50 people at Martha's Vineyard, ship them back. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
like the rich can afford to be taxed to death to pay for the Green New Deal, but for 50 immigrants, no.
Right.
No deal.
Sorry guys, I need to pay for my flight to go cry at the fence.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Also AOC taking her vacation time in Florida, like what a fucking hypocrite.
So funny.
What a hypocrite.
Yeah, but that's
That
but
is
that's
pretty
why
great.
a lot of this, like, I used to get mad at, now I'm just like, yeah, it makes sense. like she calling DeSantis all the fucking names in the book. Florida, you're trying to kill people, and she's down there like with their fucking simp bitch red
It's all an
ginger
act.
boyfriend.
It's all freaking act.
Well, the worst of all that was the redhead part.
Yeah. And by the way, of course, also dates a white guy. Also very funny. Very funny. It's all very funny. This is sometimes why I'm like, we are in a simulation, and they just cranked up like the fucking humor like setting to
Right.
like 10, or like the hypocritical setting, and like, let's see if they pick up on this or not. Let's see. If
Yeah,
they're
it was
going.
that CERN super collider must have like hit in 2016, and then we've just been living in clown world ever since.
Because everything is so hypocritical now. It's laughable, and you can't get mad at it. You're gonna fucking blow your goddamn brain out. Your goddamn head. All right, guys, we're a little over an hour. This was fun. This was a good good almost end of the year wrap up. Kind of bleak, but not really. Also, we talked about some shining things in the future. That's not all dark and sad. Kyle, where can we find you, bud?
Sure. You can find me at Kyle Matovcik, KyleMatovcik, on Twitter. The band, A Common Crown. You and me are both sporting our own gear. You know, that's a proper Chad thing to do. The In Liberty and Health podcast, I'm doing 2 episodes a week anymore. And on Facebook, music's everywhere. You can find my music at A Common Crown and In Liberty and Health on all major audio podcatchers. Yeah, that's where you can find me. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, dude. I love you, brother. Jacob?
Go to adamisn'tfunny.com. You can find all of... No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that was fun. So...
Oh, shit. So at Biblical Anarchy on Twitter, because, you know, I have a big following because I didn't get nuked off Twitter.
Whatever, dude.
Like Adam.
Whatever. I have 230 followers now. It's such a bummer.
See, I win just by surviving. Okay,
You really did. You have survived me. Well, I'm more base and edgy than you.
I'm
That's
the
fine.
guy in paintball who just like doesn't go out, just waits for everyone else to shoot each other. Comes out, shoots the last guy. It's like, yeah. Okay. So
You're like, I'm a hero, and no one could tell the village otherwise because they all died.
Yep. But you can. So I got 2 podcasts now. First one you can check out Daniel 3 podcast or go to daniel318.com. Second one is just launched back in November with the Libertarian Christian Institute, and that is the Biblical Anarchy podcast, which you can check out at biblicalanarchypodcast.com or search for that on YouTube, Spotify, whatever you want. And yeah, that's it.
Boom. All right, you guys know, again, follow me on all my stuff. Go check out The Cult of Us. Tomorrow, brand new live episode. I think we have Stephen Aldi on, very funny comic. All right, boys, this has been fun. Thank you. Hopefully the world doesn't go into a fucking tailspin. And I'll see you guys in the fucking new year, hopefully.
I'm hoping for the tailspin.
A little bit. Same. A little bit. But if not, I'll see you guys soon. All right, everybody. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Find Adam on social media, Twitter and IG at Adam Nutter, or Facebook and TikTok at Adam Nutter Comedy. And for podcasts and merch, check out www.droptent.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.
This has been a Drop Tent Media Production.